In Indonesia, 1 out of every 100 children lives with autism. And many of them, gluten is part of almost every food, from bread to noodles to snacks they eat every day. But research stated that children with autism cannot digest gluten really well. The compounds affect their behavior, causing inflammations, hyperactivity, and discomfort. That's why a gluten-free diet has become one of the key therapies. But yet, in Indonesia, gluten-free food is still hard to find. At the same time, Indonesia holds approximately 20% of our world mangrove ecosystem. But the pedada mangrove fruit, rich and abundant, is still treated as a waste. And while mangrove protects our coastlines, many fishermen lose their livelihoods as the sea is their home slowly drifts away. So I began to ask myself, how can we call something sustainable if it leaves people behind? My name is Salma, Miss Cosmo Indonesia, and this question shaped my journey. Since 2010, I've been living among children with autism. They're my friends and also my family, and their struggles become mine too. In high school, I decided to search for an answer on my own. Through rigorous months and months of research and experiments, I discovered something simple yet powerful. The pedada fruit that once thrown away as a waste and currently have zero economic value turned out to be naturally gluten-free. And from that woman's perspective to be, I realized this fruit can be transformed into flour and safe for my friends with autism and meaningful for the planet. With just $2,000, we can employ and displace fishermen as pedada harvesters, equip 15 mothers in the coastal areas with tools that process food into flour and turn that flour into gluten-free products like cookies that is safe for our friends with autism. Turning waste into values and values into purpose, it creates a real work, real income, and real inclusion for fishermen, for the mothers, and for the children that suffer with autism, and for the families all across the globe. This is more than just a product. This is my calling as a person. It's a vision where no one left behind, where sustainability empowers people and inclusion begins from the heart of Indonesia.
I would like to introduce myself. My name is Alma Ranggita Cahyariani. I graduated from Metallurgical Materials Engineering, and today I'm going to show you my presentations, the story that became a turning point in my life. Indonesia contributes 22.7% of the total mangrove ecosystem worldwide. Wow, we are one of the largest. And yet we produce this fruit called pedada fruit, or mangrove apple, that oftenly discarded because people doesn't have discovered the full potentials yet. So it become a waste. So it's leaving the coastal families with zero economic value with the land that they protected. Others are ways, I saw possibilities, where we can turn these pedada fruits that considered as a waste into something valuable, which is the flowers that have already been put it there, that is having the 0% gluten, and also implementing the circular economy and the waste to wealth theory. But now that I give the questions pop up in my head, is that the abundance of the mangrove products, and secondly, how this is scientifically proven, how this is feasible, how this could be done. So this is the story begin. I lived 12 years in an inclusive school, so I have many friends that suffered with disabilities, one of which is autism and Down syndromes. And one day, I was just sitting on the school canteen, munching on some cookies. But then I saw my friend, we can call him Alex. He suffered with autism. He rebelled and he insisted to eat the cookies that were sold in canteen, but he cannot. Why? It's because people with autism, they cannot digest gluten really well. It causing them inflammations and reactivity. This breaks my heart into pieces because he struggled for something that is really simple, something that we consume every day, which is just a cookies or anything that contains gluten. It breaks my heart so that I conducted a research in 2018. turns out that these pedada fruits, it can turn into a flour, and a flour it can turn into a consumable product such as like the cookies and then any other like noodles and breads. It has 0% gluten, and it's scientifically proven by the gravimetric test analysis and also the qualitative data that we made from the sensory market acceptance. Next. Now, how this is strategically implemented, how this could be feasible, how could this, what's the strategy, how could the managements. Now we're going to implement the human-centered system, where we are going to provide a new landscape jobs for the fathers of the coastal families. Now they gain the new jobs by harvesting the pedada fruits, and then economic empowerment for the women or the
15
mothers.
seconds left.
Or the mothers across the coastline for them to build the SMEs for economical power and the impacts for the kids that suffered with autism. Now this is the trajectory for our financial investments, where by just $2,000 you can invest on my projects. Where we
Thank you very much, Ms. Cosmo Indonesia.
we're gonna break even at 5 months, and this is the profit.
And now is Q&A section, ladies and gentlemen. Would love to invite Ms. Mook to give the question.
Wow, now Miss Cosmo Indonesia, it's time to breathe. We have so many information, and I assure you that we all have seen all of the presentation beforehand. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And it's very touching for me. However, what do you think it is the biggest barrier to reach to success for your project? Is this because of the pedada was taken for granted, or is the underlying issue the minority?
I see.
Yeah, so would you mind elaborate on that for me, please?
Thank you so much, Pimuk, for the questions. I think it could be both, because the inclusivity in Indonesia, 1 out of 100 kids suffered with autism, and it breaks my heart to see this because they struggle for something that is simple, which that is the one that is minority. And aside of that is also the pedada fruits, because we have the second longest coastline in the world, Indonesia. We produce this fruit massively, but it's still look in one-sided eye because it doesn't. They haven't found the how to turn it into something that is valuable. So it has 0 economic value. So Indonesia, if you find pedada fruit, you can buy it for free because they don't value it yet, because they don't know how to produce it. It rotten and it falls to the coastal lines and doesn't know how to produce it for the people. And so that the initial state is that I want to bring creating a system, an ecosystem where the father, they can gain a new jobs by harvesting the pedada fruits. And then we turn these pedada fruits into something valuable by the mothers. They could create the SMEs, small medium enterprises. They could turn this pedada fruit into something valuable, such as the pedada flowers that have 0% gluten, and the impacts will be gained by the children that would want to have a nutritious foods that is accessible and affordable, because we have a market competitor analysis too, and we're gonna sell this pedada flour for 200 grams that is way 50% cheaper than the regular market that we have in public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Salma. Well, I do have another question. I can definitely see this project being implemented, first thing first, in Indonesia. But where do you insert yourself in this project? Like, what is your role? How do you actually prove your work in this project?
Okay, thank you so much for the questions, Kak Tata. How do I prove myself in this project is when I was in high school, I was getting the experience to actually look up for Pantai Indah Kapuk, which is one of the ecotourism for Mangrove. And when I go there, I was like, I smell bad things, like, where does it came from? And they said it was coming out from this pedada fruit. And the people are struggling because firstly, they were fishermen, but then they lose their jobs because they're implementing the mangrove trees there. And they don't know how to gain more incomes. And that's why I talked to the people, to the pedestrians there. How can I help you? And they said, we didn't have any resources other than planting the mangroves. So what are the solutions regarding this? I was taking the fruits out of the mud because it was like separated on the muds, and I bring that home. And I think that this fruit can turn into something valuable. So I conducted my research. I'm a scientific student. I also graduated from metallurgical materials engineering, so I really have this mindset to have like a rigorous research visions for me to bring innovations that could bring a meaningful impact towards the society. So when I bring that home, this fruit, it turns out it has 0% gluten, and I already proven that by lab, and it can be seen by the research test analysis, and we also see the nutritious as well by having phytochemical analysis as well.
Thank you very much, Miss Cosmo, Indonesia.